What a piece of junk!
This is the Shattered Order Podcast.
Go switch off!
If you're looking for Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes news, information, and theory crafting, you've found the podcast you're looking for. With your hosts, Good Night Punk and Wind Killer Inc.
We would be honored if you would join us.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 117th episode of the Shattered Order Podcast. I'm your host, Goodnight Punk, live from the courtyard by Marriott, and I'm here to talk swuggo with my good friend Wink. What's up, Wink? How you doing?
Oh, I am doing wonderful. I am sitting in the comfort of my office as usual. I am not on the road, but...
No.
I mean, I am ready to chew through some of these topics we got tonight.
We have so much that we had to cut something out for next week. And I'm sorry for IG 2000, but I'd like to spend some time on that ship, and I just don't want to just run through it this week. So we're going to save him for next week. And this week, we're going to roll with the other things we got. So...
That's almost like a little Wookiee head for next week.
Oh, man, beautiful. I don't know. For those of you listening, I'm sorry. That pun was beautiful, and I didn't give it the proper laughter. So, I love it. Anyways, if you're not watching the live stream, I just want you to know that we have about a giant army of Wookiees in the background of our Twitch stream, and they're all here to show their support for Chewbacca this week and... the Shadow Order Podcast. So there's
Indeed.
that.
We love Wookiees.
We love Wookiees. All right. So
Ready to dive in?
I think that there's no better thing for us to do than just do the thing.
Just head first, right into this.
Hey guys, what did you do in Swoga this week?
All right. Well, I did a lot in Swugga this week. A whole lot. Aside from the obvious, which I am going to have so much to say about here in a little bit, I think we'll save it until we actually get to that topic. So, my Wookiee stuff I am going to just put on hold. My new arena team I'm going to put on hold, and I'm talking about that here in a little bit. But I did some mod slicing. I sliced up a bunch of good mods. I've got a pretty sweet offense arrow that has 9 speed on it that I'm working on slicing up. I finally got it to gold. It has like 9 speed, like 2.5% health, and 125 secondary offense. So I'm pretty happy with it. Pretty sweet. It might be one of my next candidates to slice. It might be the first non-speed arrow that I've sliced to 6-star. I put some of the extra 6-star mods that I'm not using in my current arena team because my current arena team is different than my old one, obviously. I moved those to Tarkin, and I had enough that I was able to add 2 speed to his ship, which is, 4 6-stop mods on him. So I'm curious to see how that does. I actually just did that before the stream. So, tomorrow I'll get an idea of how that actually holds up. God bless. The bonus drops caused me to blow some serious crystals. And I made some pretty good progress on Bosk. I think he is 30 out of 100. And I think it was like a week ago, I had just got him to 5-star. So, I mean, I made some serious progress this past week, doing all those nodes, refreshing nodes, spending energy like crazy because of all the bonus drops.
Bonus drops being better than actually farming those people's actual hard nodes.
Yeah, pretty much. That was the great thing about it. The boss node, his regular node, I was actually refreshing once or twice just because I was getting him and our Sing, and then I would go to the other nodes and just farm them like regular, just so that I would be in striking distance of 7-star boss if I needed him. Hint, I did not need him. So yeah, that's pretty much my weekend, Swoggo. What about yours?
Well, I did also get Chewbacca. I'll mention how I just checked my phone, and I'm sorry, Joy. My wife texted me from home. Apparently, she's watching, and said Wink really likes to blow his crystals. So good times. All right. Anyways, I got Chewbacca, and I'll talk about how much Chewbacca I got later. So, but I did get Chewbacca. Just for some people that are farming KOTOR tunes or kind of curious where I'm at with my Jolie and Bastila farm. And I'm actually feeling pretty good about how far I've gotten the weeks they've been out. I do one refresh a day, sometimes two if one of them's behind the other one. And I'm currently 12 out of 85 on Jolie and 10 out of 85 on Bastila. So
nice.
They're actually going pretty fast, and I'm actually happy with it. Now, the problem for me now is I've added in Zalbar as a third hard node character to farm with them. So it's going to be interesting how I divvy that up now. No one's definitely getting a third or a second refresh or third pass through, basically, again. Yep. But, man. But that's where I'm at now. So basically around 10 out of 85 for both of them, and Zalbar is 3 out of 30, I think. So
yeah, I just started on Zalbar. Haven't got him unlocked yet, unfortunately. You started farming Jolie and Bastila at the same time, right? You weren't one of the people that was, because I went balls out farming Bastila at first just because I was using her in arena for a bit. So she's super close to being finished, but Jolie is super far behind for me.
Yeah, they were both level 1, gear 1 when they were released free to play for me, so I just started them at the same time. So I've been doing them side by side this entire time. So you can tell, I think I'd probably get about 6 to 7 shards a day at the least. And as far as the farming calculator goes, it says it's about 32 to 38 days to get them to 7-star. Doing it that way, so with that number, so yeah, I feel like I'm on a pretty good track, so I'll just keep blasting away at that. I don't know what adding Zalbar is going to do that, though. I did get L3 to 6 stars, and I don't refresh Cantina. I just don't, because of all the refreshes on hard nodes I use. But L3 just got to 6-star, but I dropped her now and went for T3. Just because I like T3 more than Mission, and I'd rather have T3 at 7-star first. So now I'm farming T3, Zalbar, Bastila, and Jolie, and I'll have to get Mission eventually just to cover my bases for all these KOTOR rumors. I personally don't think anything's going to happen with the KOTOR thing, at least not soon. But I'd rather not be. I'd rather cover my bases than not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, well, the last thing is, as I've been doing over the last 2 weeks and still being nowhere near where I need to be, hint for later, my Dengar is at, Dengar and Greedo is gear 9, 5 out of 6. I'm just waiting for stupid, stun gun salvage. Need stun gun salvage for Greedo to get him to gear 10. Dengar's waiting for some thermal detonators that only come from the raid. It's just super annoying. They're at gear 9. Boba's almost to gear 11. I'm just waiting on one piece, but it never seems to pop up in the store. I got Zam to gear 11, IG8 to 88 to gear 11. I got Cad Bane to gear 10. So mine are all in a decent spot. I haven't beat. Well, yeah, I'll tell you about that later. Anyways, mine aren't that great on my main account, but I'll tell you what. Gear 12 Bosk, Dengar, Greedo, and Boba mixed with a gear 11 Cad Bane on my alt account. That worked out all right. So
I can imagine. It sounds like it'd work out really well.
yeah, so that's what I've been doing, and it's really, you know what, I can tell you this much, right? How'd my week go in Swigga? So I went on the cruise. When I got back from the cruise, I worked day shift to teach a training class, and then I left to go to a training class. I haven't worked nights in a month now. Working days just throws everything off for me. Like I feel like I've really done nothing in Swigga for 4 weeks, but
and there's been so much introduced in that time too.
Wow, I know it's driving me nuts. Like I can't wait to go back on night shift and have everything go back to normal for me.
Yeah.
Changing schedules for me is like the worst thing in the world. I hate it. I don't know how you day shift people do that, but bring back my staying up all night, please. That's all I want.
I don't shift schedules. I don't do well at night. There is one night a week in which I stay up past 11 o'clock, and it is this night. So, understand.
Podcast night is a good night to stay up. That's all I'm saying.
That is
so.
Takes a little coffee and pre-workout, but I make it through.
Dude, that's like, okay, so night shift, they're like watches in the Navy. People would do pre-workout before watches, and I swear to God, I'd sit there and like my watch standers would be sitting there bouncing in their seat for like the first 3 hours of watch. The last 3 hours, they're like,
yeah, that's the way it
falling to the
works.
side out of the chair, and I'm like, go get some more. I can't eat anymore. I'm like, well, what are you thinking then?
Yeah, that is definitely true.
Well, why don't you sing us into the podcast poll?
All right, well, play some Thunder because I feel like Thunder would happen on like a Wookiee planet or something, maybe.
How about this? This podcast poll has not been out that long, and you all brought the thunder. So,
I see what you did there. I like it. Nice.
I mean, short amount of time for this podcast poll, and you blew out the record for the amount of responses. So I'm pretty stoked. I'm pretty happy with you guys. You did an awesome job with this. So.
Yeah, so we had 189 responses in a matter of 8 hours? Maybe it wasn't even that long. 6 hours?
I put it out like 4 o'clock, so like 5 hours, 5.5 hours.
Dang,
5.5 hours,
awesome.
189 people. So thank you to
Very
every
impressive.
one of you that share that link with your friends and your guild and everything else, because the more people we get, the better I think our data is, and it's just fun. It's just a fun thing to do, right? It takes a few seconds, fill out your own thoughts, and then later on you can hear how it went. So
we're going for 300 responses next week, and we're going to make sure to get it out more than 24 hours before the podcast to make sure lots of people have a chance to poll. But this poll is absolutely awesome because clearly there's only one thing it could possibly be about, and that is Chewbacca. So let's go ahead and jump into the poll. Question 1, or actually I should say,
Question 1.
have you beat the last tier of the Chewbacca Legendary event? There were, let's see,
this
74
pie
people.
looks hilarious, by the way.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a bow tie or a pizza that was only sliced twice. I don't know. You'll be able to see this. I'll put it up on the website. So shadowroar.com/episode/117. You'll be able to go check it out. There'll be a link to the poll there. But we had 39.2% of people that said yes, hallelujah, on beating the last tier of the Chewbacca event. Then there were 3 options for no. 11% were no, geared and ready, but bad RNG. Totally understandable. There was 12.2% of people said no, don't have 5 bounty hunters at 7 stars. And then there were 71 people, 37.6% that said no, not geared enough yet. So that's actually kind of a pretty good breakdown. I mean,
Pretty
I
mixed.
feel like as far as like what CG would target, or if I were them, like this is kind of the breakdown you would probably want. Like you don't want everybody to get them. You probably want less than half of people to get them, but you want to still be achievable and a lot of those people to have an opportunity at it. So, I'd say it's pretty successful. I'd actually say 39% actually beating the last tier is pretty dang good. So
Yeah, what's funny is I have 2 accounts, and I literally take up both sides of the bigger pieces of the pie between the 2. So
nice. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. What? Oh,
Question 2.
there she is. How difficult did you find the Chewbacca legendary event? Answer for tier 7 if attempted. If not, answer for tier 5 or 6, depending on the highest attempted. All right, so this is basically what, a 1 to 10 scale based on how difficult you found it, 10 being the hardest, 1 being the easiest. There were 2.6% people had a 1, 1.1% said 2, 4.2% said 3, 1.6% said 4, 3.2% said a 5, which is, kind of average. 2.6% said 6, and then the numbers start climbing quite a bit as we get into 8.5% said it was a 7. 28% said it was an 8 difficulty, and 28% said it was a 9 difficulty. I think I thought it was about an 8, and then we had 20% say it was a 10. So where did you come down on this one?
I put 9 as well. So between me and you, 8.5. Yeah,
Yep.
It was definitely not for the faint of geared bounty hunters.
I found the nest event, or not the bounty hunters challenge thing to get the nest shards. I found that to be more difficult than this legendary event, mainly because with the legendary event, I saw a path that I could beat it. With the nest event, like with my bounty hunters, it wasn't going to happen. So that's the reason I was at an 8 rather than a 10, or a 9. I just kind of thought that's kind of how it felt. But it was definitely not an easy event. I mean, I thought it was far less frustrating than the Thrawn event just because you don't have all those waves to get through before you get to the actual battle where you're going to lose. So I thought that was a big plus.
The turnaround for attempts is a lot faster in this than Thrawn because of the no extra waves with the ramping up of Ezra like they did that for. But even still, it's just, I don't know. It was. I think it's a good difficulty. I just think that I don't know. It's rough. It's just rough. It is rough. And I've had those bounty hunters forever, but granted, I neglected them, so it's probably my fault that they're not completely ready. But if it was Ewoks, I'd be totally ready. So there's that.
Yeah.
So I did other things, and maybe hindsight's 20/20. But you didn't know. I didn't know. Okay. But I'll tell you this: those Ewoks have gone 6 for 6 on every combat mission so far. So I can live with that.
Oh, I got something to say about combat missions later because, like, they take like 30 seconds now, or at least one of them does, which I'll explain later. But
Question 3.
Feeling.
What?
I was going to say, I think I have a feeling what you're going to say. Question 3. What do we got?
Do what? Okay.
I said question 3.
What Zeta do you focus on first? If you did Zeta Chewbacca, And he has 2 Zetas, both of them unique abilities. 1 Loyal Friend, which is when Chewbacca deals damage to an enemy, Chewbacca and all guarded allies recover 3% health and 3% protection. That was 75% of people. That was the one that people focused on, or at least people that answered. There were 84 responses to this question. And then Raging Wookiee, which is the one that makes him immune to ability block and cooldown increase, 25%, aka 21 people put that one.
AKA you don't have to stack him with tenacity so that Darth Nihilus doesn't increase his cooldowns.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's a pretty good one. I think they're both really good, but I do think that I would go with Loyal Friend first.
Yeah. I did them both immediately, but
yeah, I was saying I have them. Yeah. I have the Zetas to give. I just
prepared. Yep.
Yeah. If I had to pick one or the other.
I totally agree. Loyal Friend is absolutely awesome. It's really good. I like it a lot. All right.
Question 4.
Question 4. What gear level is your Chewbacca if unlocked? All right. So the largest portion of the pie, there were 181 responses on this part. The largest section of the pie was almost 40% of people that said Gear 8 or lower. There was 18% that did not even unlock. And then there were almost 18% that said Gear 9. 7.7% that said Gear 10. 7.2% that said Gear 11. And then there were 9.4% of snobby people that had to brag about their Gear 12 Chewbacca.
It's pretty awesome. You're ready for it. It's a lot of saved gear. Or...
Yeah. Well, and ironically, his gear is actually not that bad for the most part. There are a couple pieces that are kind of tough, but I mean, I think by legendary character standards, not too bad.
Yeah. It's I remember gearing him on the test account and thinking the only really bad parts were when you got to gear 10. There were some on there, and gear 11. So yeah. Getting him to gear 10 is pretty. There's not a lot of stepping stones that make it hard.
Yeah.
So
indeed. All
this
right.
last question.
What gear level did you get yours to in your alt?
I unlocked him this afternoon, and I've been running around like a chicken with my head cut off trying to get everything set up today. So mine is currently gear 1, so I put gear 8 or lower. And my other one is also gear 1 because I'm still working on more stars. So
makes sense. All right.
Question number 5.
All right, question number 5. Have you been impressed with Chewbacca now that you've gotten your hands on the newest legendary character? 167 responses. There was 73% that said hard to say, and then there was only 5.4% that said no. I actually found that really surprising based on the way I've seen a lot of people talking that think Chewbacca is really underwhelming. And then there was 21.5% that said, yes, they are impressed with Chewbacca.
I think that'll, well, this is what I hope, because I have seen a lot of that talk as well. And I don't know. I just think it's way too early to say no, that he's not good. Yeah, so we'll see, because we never know. The only thing you really need with him is, you don't have to have this either, but Han, to get an extra guarded person. But even if he's not with Han, he guards someone. So he's good without rebels. He's good with rebels. You know, that it'll work out either way. He's good in the raid. He's good. My tests, he was good in arena, and that was an all-rebel team. But we also got to think about this, right? We have no freaking clue what else is coming to this game, right?
That's true.
You know,
I mean, people were really underwhelmed whenever Emperor Palpatine and Darth Vader were first reworked. There were a lot of people that were like, they're not going to be great in Arena. They're not going to be meta. 6 months later, still in, like, Emperor Palpatine is still in the meta a lot. And
Thrawn never left it. The dude is in everything.
Yeah, he's crazy.
I mean, obviously he doesn't have a fracture or, things like that. But I think something's probably going to come along to go with Chewbacca that just adds to how good he is. That's my guess.
Yeah, I totally agree. I suspect that there will be something like that as well. But I'm not entirely sure that he needs it right now, because I still think he is awfully freaking good just the way he is with the characters that are currently in the game. And I highly doubt that we have even found the best team for him yet. So we will see. That's still speculation, but we will see. So that pretty much does it for the poll this week, where we had 189 awesome people reply. That was just awesome. Like I said,
thank you.
We're gonna break that record next week. But yeah, if you want to get in on the poll, make sure you check out our Discord, discord.me/shatteredorder. We always post it there, and we'll make sure and tweet it out next week. So twitter.com/shatteredorder, follow us, and you can check it out there. You ready for this next thing?
Always ready.
Strong with us, this update is Young Padawans.
All right, there was an update, of course. New characters.
There's always updates when I'm out of
that
town.
is true. When either of us go out of town, I was out of town whenever ships came out. You were out of town when mods came out. Both of us on cruises when the two biggest things have come out this year. Crazy.
Exactly. What an odd coincidence.
Yeah. Maybe I need to go on a cruise soon, make something new come out. Huh.
Yeah.
Who knows? All right, new characters, Chewbacca, and not character, but ship, IG-2000. IG-88 ship. We're not really going to touch that this week. We're going to
I want to touch on one thing.
But
because I think not talking about it this week would be doing it a disservice. IG-2000 ship is a bounty hunter ship, but it's also something else. Do you know what that something else is?
What?
It's a droid ship. It's listed as a droid ship. And one of the abilities mentions doing things for other droid ships.
It does. There are no droid ships. Ships that have droids as a pilot don't count.
I see nothing. There are no droid ships. So, when I read that, my first thought was, are we getting droid ships soon? Are we going to get a Grievous capital ship and rework? Because that would be friggin' amazing, man. People have been wanting the Benevolence as a capital ship forever. If this was any type of indication for that, that would be super awesome.
So, what? Chimera came a year ago, and that was the last capital ship that was added. We haven't seen a new capital ship since. We've had this complete revamp of ships, and still no new capital ship. I wouldn't be a bit surprised, totally agree, to see that ship come. What does that actually do? Do you have that ability offhand? What it actually adds?
I do. Give me 2 seconds.
All right, I have given you 2 seconds.
You're probably getting it to me faster. Are you on it?
Yes, I am on it. I am just looking for the part about the droid ships. All right, so the part about droid ships is what I am still trying to find on my phone, and I am almost there. Okay, here it is. This is his crew ability. At the start of each turn, the IG-2000 recovers 8% health. It also gains 8% offense for each debuffed enemy. Other droid allies gain half these amounts. So, the fact that they are including both a health recovery and an offense recovery kind of tells me that it's not just going to be a capital ship, droid capital ship whenever it comes, because obviously capital ships don't have health. They do have offense, though. So I wouldn't be a bit surprised to maybe see General Grievous's ship plus, I don't know, what is some other droid in the game that has a ship?
None really that I can think of off the top of my head, but I'd be more interested in a Grievous rework that brought along like a droideka, some B1s, and those types of things, because then they could make those things pilot ships. And there's actual ships that are actual droids. So my real wonder is if they did bring those into the game, if they would bring in a ship for the first time that didn't need a pilot, because it's actually its own pilot being a droid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Be interesting. But
yeah. I don't know. I'm looking at all the droid characters, and I don't know which of these characters would actually have a ship. Did HK-47 have one? I mean, that might be a possibility. Chopper already has a ship. L3 has a ship. I don't know about T3. IG-100, I wouldn't think so. B2, I wouldn't think so. K2S already has a ship, I believe. And then BB-8 and R2. I don't know. BB-8. I guess he's not in post ship, so I guess you could give him a ship. I don't know what it would be.
A flying AT-AT or ATSD, like in everyone's favorite TLJ.
Cool. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, so, who knows? We'll see. Maybe that means that more droids are coming soon, or maybe it's just future proofing. But it seems kind of odd to specifically add synergy to a character in which it has literally no use. It benefits him, but that's it. So
yeah, it's got to be pointing to something.
Indeed. So the other thing was a shard shuffle. There were a lot of shards moved around, which is kind of exciting. So Mission Vow is now going to replace Tusken Raider in Cantina Battle 7A. That is a 16 energy node. T3 and 4 replaces Old Ben at Cantina Battle 6B. Zalbar is now going to Light Side Hard 5D, which I believe is a 16 energy node.
It is.
And then also in Fleet Battles 3C, which is a 16 energy. And then also replaces Ahsoka Tano in Light Side Hard 5D. Oh, yeah. I already said that. But he replaces Ahsoka. So, 2 places to farm Zalbar. Very interesting. Houndstooth now goes to the Mega Data Cards, Fleet Mega Pack, and in shipments. Bosk now hits the Fleet Mega Shipments. Aura Singh is now in Chromium Packs and shipments. What of this did you find most interesting?
Well, I'm glad to see 2 new Cantina farms. I kind of wish one of them went to like the Fleet Store or the Guild Store. One of those 2, that would have been cool. But I'm glad 2 of them are more easier farms. Yeah. I was kind of surprised that a 3rd Knights of the Old Republic character went to hard nodes. But
yeah, that's. Yeah.
And not cheap hard nodes. Same general area as the other ones. So.
All right.
I don't think the prices really changed.
Who are all of the Knights of the Old Republic characters currently in the game?
Mission Vow, Zalbar, T3, Bastila and Jolie, I think.
Is Darth Nihilus, Traya, Scion, are they KOTOR as well?
They are KOTOR. They're not listed as on the Old Republic tag, though.
Oh, interesting.
There's only those 5 listed under the Old Republic tag.
Okay. But those are all characters from it. Oh, HK-47 is another one as well.
Yes.
Okay. Interesting. So, I mean, people have been speculating like a Revan event for freaking forever. I think only these new 5 are light side. All
Yeah, they're all
5
light
of
sides.
the new Knights of the Old Republic that have the Old Republic tag are light side. So they could be good candidates for maybe a villains type event or something along those lines.
Well, now you know why I'm farming them so hard.
Ooh, interesting.
Yes, I don't want to be left behind. I'm actually gearing
Uh,
them as well, so it's working out all right.
Sith Marauder, Assassin, and Trooper, some others that people mention. And technically, the Triumvirate is apparently KOTOR too, which, I don't know that apparently. So, all right, next thing. Well, I should say, I think I should probably follow what you're doing as well and start focusing on these characters a little bit more just in case that actually ends up happening, because I don't want to be left in the dark if, some event like that comes along.
Well, the problem was I really had to give up on the smugglers. I kind of just put them all on the back burner for them. So it's either one or the other.
So what smugglers are really all that important, and what do you really need them for? I mean,
They
unless
could be
there's
needed
going to
for
be
an event. That's what I'm saying. Because all 6 of the new solo characters are in that smuggler tag. That's why we were.
Yeah.
But I think that's much less likely than a KOTOR one. I don't know.
I'm excited. I'll have far less issues with the next smuggler event that comes up.
Yeah, for sure.
Because Chewbacca. All right, let's go ahead and dig into these energy packs. This was
out of nowhere, wasn't it?
It was out of nowhere, and it's a pretty good deal too.
Yeah, for sure. And it's not like it's every day, so it's not like you're having to do this every day. It's just I think it's once a week. Thursday.
Yeah, pretty much. Once a week for the next 3 weeks, basically. So, basically, they have a pack in the store. It'll be available September 27th, which is already passed, October 1st, October 8th for both of these. And they're both 600 crystals. The regular energy comes with 900 energy, so it's basically the same as an 80 crystal refresh, but you have to buy it in that big bulk. And then the Cantina energy, basically, I believe it was 640 energy for 600 crystals, which come out to 112 and a half crystal energy refreshes if you buy it in bulk. So once if you're doing more than those, the minimum energy refreshes, which is the 50 regular and the 100 cantinas, if you do more than that, you're better off to kind of save those crystals and make sure that you buy these packs on those days, just because you do get a much better return on your investment. So I highly recommend people buy these whenever they come around, especially if you're panic farming or preparing for something.
Dude,
you're better off spending this now than having to spend more later.
I love these for hard nodes. And I think it pops up on hard node day. I think it's actually on hard node day. So it might have been on purpose in that way too. So to really help you out, sure. If I'm wrong, then, shoot me in the foot. But I think this is on hard node guild day. So if you buy it at night, once it hits hard node time, and you use this on hard nodes and spend some refreshes and just go all out on your hard node farms, this is going to be good for not only you for shards, but for your guild for the energy spent, because 900 energy on hard nodes is a pretty big chunk of that guild event. So
yeah,
these are. I saw the 600 crystal cost on these, and I immediately wondered, how good of a deal it was, and it actually turns out that they're actually pretty good. So
yeah, indeed.
If I weren't buying lots of bounty hunter gear right now, then I would probably be buying these.
Yeah, that's totally understandable. That's probably what I would be doing as well. Yeah, they're pretty awesome deal, and I certainly bought them. And I am broke as all get out. I mean, I've had like 3,000 to 4,000 crystals consistently for a while, and then I dipped down a little bit below that for mod salvage, and then I kind of started getting back up, and then this week happened, and today I had 100 crystals left. It was very disappointing. Just crazy.
This has been a very crystal heavy week for me. So
yeah,
doesn't show signs of stopping for the next 5 days, but I'm going to do my very best to get to where I need to be.
Yeah, we'll get to that here in a second. So the other things that were corrected this week were bug fixes. This first one is huge. Sabine's cooldown for Dark Saber Strike has been adjusted to be 2. There was an issue there a while back where it got pushed up to 3, and you know, if you run the P2 team that I run, the Wumpage team, that's kind of important. That makes a really, really big difference. So yeah, this is definitely a good thing that they have fixed that. Somebody, I cannot remember who it was, this just came to me. I was going to mention this a while back. Somebody sent me a screenshot of their team that they did in phase 2, and they got like 6.2 million. It was crazy. I was like, that is absolutely awesome. So to whoever that was, I apologize. I cannot remember who it was, but yeah, that was absolutely legit and super impressive. The other thing is just this was kind of odd. Jedi Temple Guard now has the Galactic Republic tag.
So, who would be the opposite of the Galactic Republic? Who's on that side? Is it the Separatists, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, that's rhetorical. Anyways, it's the Separatists. So, what is General Grievous? A Separatist.
See where you're going.
Small things just keep popping up and kind of putting them all together. Seems like something might be coming for that Separatist / Old Republic tag. Because why suddenly do we need Jedi Temple Guard? Or so that's Jedi Temple Guard.
Yeah, so
it's not who I'm thinking of. I was thinking of Jedi Knight Guardian.
But
okay, that makes a little okay.
No, but this actually kind of proves your point even more. Is the Jedi Temple Guard, which is a character you can't even play. It's the little dude in one of those events that we just had that is kind of difficult to kill. Like, are we about to get a Separatist that has anti-Galactic Republic synergy or something?
That would,
capital ship with anti-Galactic Republic synergy.
There has been a lot of, I hope they wouldn't put a Jedi Temple Guard in a ship. That would be weird. He's like, I'm going to leave the temple. No, I know what you're saying. I just think that's funny.
That's fair.
But like, there's been word or belief of a Separatist rework for a long time because they really have no synergy at all. Same with the Galactic Republic. But, Dooku and Grievous are, Separatists, Newts, Separatists, all those ones. And the talk has always been around the Separatists getting the rework first. So fine-tuning Galactic Republic NPC or, playable in ways, you got to wonder if they're doing this to get ready for something with the Separatists. And I don't... Things right now for me and you are very blurry this way, but the... thinking ahead of what could be coming, Separatists does seem like something that could be, especially with the IG-88 or IG-88 ship with the droid synergies. There's just a lot of weird little things going on, and that's the only reason I called that out was because I saw Galactic Republic tag and wondered why they would even need to play with that.
Indeed, very odd.
Yeah, so.
All right, so, I'm sure you guys know what this music is for. That's some good music, ain't it?
I love it.
All right, so We want to give some stuff away. How about that? Here's what we're gonna do. We've done this before. We were trying to think of a way in which we could give something away tonight, quickly, easily, just for simply being in the live stream.
Hanging out with us, there's a chance to win something.
Right now, up
We know
here
you guys
in
like that.
my head, that I, you know what? I'm actually gonna get the board out and write it down so y'all don't think I'm cheating. But I am going to write down a number. It is going to be between 1 and 100. The first person to write this number in the live chat is going to win the awesome Yeti streamer bundle that we mentioned on Twitter the other day.
Yes, so Wink's gonna need to Discord to this me so I can look out for it.
Indeed. That is a really good idea. I did not even think of that. So the other thing that we have going on is we are doing a normal blue giveaway that we do every so often, typically every month. All you have to do is go to our Twitter, twitter.com/shatteredorder. Go there, retweet our tweet about tonight's live stream, and you will be entered for a drawing. Or actually, you won't be entered for a drawing, but you
guys
will
can stop.
actually win. Yeah,
You guys can stop.
yes.
It's already over.
Wow.
It's already over.
Yep.
You can keep going if you want. Don't, you know what? Totally fine for you to keep going, but I already know
Holy
who the
crap.
winner is.
Yep, I know.
It was
the winner
literally
is.
picked within like the first 8 numbers, so ridiculous.
Yeah. I like what Zara did there. Big Deal and Zara both picked 12 because that's pretty. I mean, I am an Aaron Rodgers fan. That's not a bad idea. However, you Packers fans, if you remember Jeff Janis, who used to be on the team, it's his number. That's not why I picked it. That just happened to be random. But the number was 83, in which Chicken Bottom guessed.
Chicken Bottom is the winner.
Indeed. So hit me up on Discord, and I will tell you what information I need and give you your options, because there are a lot of options of free stuff you can get from Blue Designs. Oh, by the way, here's the number, just so y'all know I wasn't bluffing the 83.
People are going to be like, I saw a 9 and I saw an 11.
Indeed. So, yeah, awesome. Congrats. And also congrats to whoever ends up winning on Twitter. So, I will probably pull the name for that right after this live stream because it's promoting this live stream. So make sure you go.
So if
tweet
you
it
want to, if you still
be
want a
entered.
chance at this, you better go find that tweet and retweet it right now.
Yeah. And if you're listening to the podcast and not the live stream, well, it's too late. We mentioned this earlier today. That's why we did it. So
And
awesome.
last week. So there you
And
go.
last
I said
week,
last week
indeed.
to watch Twitter, and there it was.
Yep. So thanks to everybody in the live chat. Thanks for hanging out with us. It's always fun, and we love you guys hanging out with us so that we can give you free stuff. You ready for this next topic?
Hold on 1 second. So first off, Fast and Weird wanted to know what the prize was.
Oh.
Did we
That-
even
that
talk
is an
about our
excellent
awesome
point.
sponsors yet?
We should tell more about the prize. Yes, give me 1 second, and I will pull up the information about the prize because it is awesome.
So, before he says that, if you want any of these cool prizes and you want to just buy them yourself, BlueDesigns.com has a bunch of awesome products, really great microphones. I mean, I'm in a hotel right now using my Yeti Nano, and this thing is just awesome. Perfect for traveling, perfect for your house, perfect for everything because it's got a good price and it's just a really good microphone. But it works really well for me being here and not having to pack my Spark in there. It's perfect. But so if you want to get involved with Blue and their awesome stuff, these Bluetooth headphones are amazing for flying and everything like that with the power bumper and the noise canceling. Freaking awesome. But the BlueDesigns.com. If you put in SOPOD while you check out, you'll get 20% off. So 1/5 of the whole order is just off the top. So go check
What a
it out.
bargain.
Oh, totally.
Especially for such high quality equipment. However, you ready to hear what that Yeti streamer bundle is? This is,
Yeah, what is it?
just awesome. All right, you can go buy the Yeti streamer bundle. Keep your eye out. You can go to our Twitter. We retweeted it not too long ago. You can go check that out. But what it comes with is it contains the Yeti microphone in midnight blue, which is gorgeous. Plus, you get 6 months of premium access to both XSplit and Overstream, an all-in-one
Which are
graphics
awesome
overlay
products.
system for your stream. And
on our
this,
stream, when I have the stuff pop up every time we get a new follower, or every time there's a new sub, or all that stuff that's normally there when I'm not in a hotel room, all that stuff is done by overlay systems, and they're giving you 6 months of it for free with this bundle, so it's perfect. Now, if you didn't win it, they still sell the bundle, and there's a lot of places you can get it. So if you're interested in it.
It is a Best Buy exclusive.
That's where it is. I knew it was
But-
somewhere.
But you can get it online or in the store. And there are Best Buys everywhere. Yeah, so you can get it lots of places.
Yeah, so
Indeed.
if you're looking to stream, you want to get into streaming, this is an awesome bundle to start with.
Yes.
Because A, you get an awesome microphone, and B, you get 2 awesome products for 6 months to get that started. So,
Indeed.
all right.
Cool.
Paper Zombie. I mean, not so paper anymore, right?
Not so much. Yeah, they made things a little bit different, to say the least.
Yeah, I really like it, and I'm also still very confused by it.
So
I need your help to break this down a little bit. I can see. I guess what I'm still missing in this is how she dies. She ends up dying.
Okay, we'll get to that because that whole mechanic they threw out the window and are completely changing. So it's going to be interesting, to say the least. All right, so they didn't really change anything at all on her basic. Her basic is the exact same. Her special one, which is Feed, which deals physical damage to target enemy, and if Night Sister Zombie has full health, dispel all debuffs on her with 3-turn cooldown. Now, the final upgrade for this ability adds all Night Sister allies recover 20% of Night Sister Zombie's max health. This is obviously really big for like a Phase 4 team in which healing is important. 20% of her health, that actually gives you a reason to want to gear her up because obviously 20% health can be a pretty big difference. So that is nice having an additional healer. Now,
Yeah, you got to figure out whether or not you want to sacrifice the turn meter reduction on basic, or if you really need the heal. But it adds another layer of options in that team for sure. And just having another healer in that team, one that's was always there in the first place, that's a really good upgrade, I think.
indeed. All right, so her first unique is, or her previous only unique, is Endless unlocks at level 2. And the final text with the fully upgraded ability is, at the start of each encounter and at the end of her turn, Night Sister Zombie gains taunt for 1 turn. Whenever Night Sister Zombie is defeated, while any other Night Sister allies are active, she is revived with 100% health, which can't be prevented. That has always been there. Everything from this point forward is entirely new. If Night Sister Zombie survived damage from an enemy attack since her last turn, she gains 50% speed stacking at the start of her turn. When Night Sister Zombie is defeated, she loses 50% speed stacking. These effects are neither buffs nor debuffs and combine for a maximum of plus 100% or a minimum of negative 100% speed. If Night Sister Zombie is defeated while at negative 100 speed from this effect, she cannot be revived. So basically what this means is kind of depends. So they're basically, she can be at negative 100 speed, negative 50% speed, her basic speed, which is right in the middle, plus 50% speed, or plus 100% speed. So there are 5 different speed categories that she can kind of fall into. And whenever she dies, she drops down a tier. So essentially, if she dies twice in the beginning, without surviving a turn, she will get to the negative 100% speed and she cannot be revived. That's a problem with the zombie.
It's worth noting as well, just kind of from a UI perspective, this is the first stacking ability that actually has a icon to show you how many stacks it has.
Really? I had not noticed that. Please tell me more.
Oh, so there's a picture kind of like of a zombie with some speed trails coming out of it, and it's green when she's got plus speed, and if she's at 100%, it'll have a 2 above it. If she's only at 50, it'll have the 1, and then if she's at negative 50, it'll be red and have a 1. If she's at negative 100, it'll be red and have the 2 above it. So you can always tell. You don't have to keep track yourself, thank God, of when your zombie is going to die forever. There are buffs above her head for all of these that you can actually see, where she's at with her buffs for this.
Yep.
So it is super useful, because if you had to keep track of this in your head, it would just, going back and forth over and over would just be completely insane.
It's incredibly important because, like I said, in the beginning, if she dies 3 times, I think I said 2 there a second ago, which is wrong. Thanks, Chicken Bottom. She dies 3 times because she would go from 0 to negative 100 to negative 50 down to negative 100 on the second death, and then it would be the third death that she would not be able to revive from. So it's incredibly important to know where her speed's at. So this is a very interesting mechanic for sure, and it forces you to want her to stay alive and not just keep getting smacked down, because my Gear 7 zombie, I mean, she can die 3 times with, 3 straight Trey attacks or Scion attacks or whatever, and it's not that uncommon.
Especially with the old modding strategy of a really fast zombie with no health. So she's going to get her taunt pretty quickly and die.
Yep.
And, going to have another turn pretty quickly and be in the same boat, unless she's geared well enough that she can survive those attacks, which Paper Zombie is built to die, so that's not going to be the case. You're not going to be getting the plus speed on a Paper Zombie. You're going to be getting a lot of minuses.
Yeah, because she has to actually survive an attack and last to her next turn in order for the speed to stack. So you definitely need survivability on her, which is pretty cool. All right.
Definitely cool.
This is entirely new. They added a new unique ability, Undying Sacrifice. This unlocks at gear level 10.
Which is the first character ability, I think, that unlocks that late in a gear level. But it makes perfect sense for the character.
Yes, 100%. And I think this is a really good way to encourage people to gear her up. I definitely think, a gear level lock is probably a pretty good idea for characters that generally have incentives to not gear. But the base ability, you know what? Not even going to deal with that. We're just going to go the final text, final ability, and go from there. All right, final text is, Night Sister Zombie can revive after being defeated at negative 100 speed from Endless Horde. The first 2 times another Night Sister ally is defeated by an enemy attack, they are revived. Recover 100% of Night Sister Zombie's max health, and Night Sister Zombie is defeated. When Night Sister Zombie is defeated by this effect, she loses all protection, dispels all negative speed effects from Endless Horde, and revives with 50% turn meter. This effect does not trigger Endless Horde speed reduction. So, this basically reinstalls what they took away from Night Sister Zombie in a way.
That's what
there
I
are
thought.
things. It is a little bit different mechanic with the do what.
So that's how I thought it worked. Is that this brings back the I'm never dying part of it?
Yes, pretty much. So, yeah, Gear 10. Gear 10 gets her back to where she can just die and not be an issue. But she also can revive Night Sisters the first 2 times they die. So this is really useful, especially, in Phase 4. This is going to give you so much more flexibility as far as, I should say, being a little bit sloppy with Daka's heals. You don't have to worry so much about having her heal or revive available. If, Talia or Mother Talzin or someone dies, they come right back the first 2 times. And if you're already running that team, this should actually allow for more consistency with that team.
Totally
what do you
agree.
think
And I think
about
that
the ability?
I think the ability makes sense to lock it at that point. But this ability mixed with the addition to her special give you big incentives on gearing her up now.
Yeah.
Because the revives, you get the revives at Gear 10. You have the heal of 20% of her max health on the special.
And it's based on zombies' health.
Yeah, so as if the higher gear you have, or the more health they're going to be revived with, and 100% of zombies' health. Well, zombie's a tank, so I would hope you'll be able to get her to a point where if anyone died and got revived, they would get, they would be all max health again immediately. So
yeah,
it's just better now, and I've seen. I can't recall it off the top of mind, so I'll just call it out. If you go to Reddit, there is a really, really good post about the Night Sister Zombie changes and what they mean for the Phase 4 team, for the Phase 3 team, and for the arena. And it pretty much goes over all of those facets and what it means for them. And for the most part, everything they list is good. Now, this came from some of the leaders from the Night Sisters Discord, but they go over it perfectly. Now, they do talk about some negative things. Like, there's a few things that are bad, but it's overall with this rework from the guys that are totally into Night Sisters and theorycraft them all the time, they really like this change. So it's a good one, and I think it's actually, and like I said back in the day when they announced they were going to change the character, she needed a reason to be geared. Should never get punished for gearing a character. So this now gives a reason to gear her without taking too much away from what she did and where she did it. Now, Phase 3 teams take a little bit longer now to set up. They're not as easy to set up with the Night Sisters now. But that is I think that was the one negative that they mentioned, that it just took a little bit longer to set up as opposed to being as easy to set up as it was before. But otherwise, pretty much everything about the rework is a positive direction. So, and I had a Gear 10 zombie on my alt already, so I was stoked that I already had the one I thought I had geared too far is actually already in a place that's good for that character, especially for territory war defense and things like that. Not defense, offense, but you know what I'm saying. So,
yeah, for sure. So, I'm gonna have to get to work on my zombie. But yeah, I think this is really, really awesome. I like these changes a lot. I think that I think this is probably actually a benefit to the Triumvirate raid. I think they said this prevents the Darth Nihilus solos in Phase 4, but I think for most people, it will create more consistency. As for what it does in Arena and Territory Wars, I think this is. I think you probably want a more geared zombie in those.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I mean, I don't really see where the downside is, except you're not going to be soloing Darth Nihilus now, and I'm okay with it. I think this is a good change. I think in the spirit of the character and what we expect with the way gear levels work, I think this was actually a really good idea. It's really well done, and I'm perfectly fine with it.
Yeah, the only
Not
thing
happy
I could
that I
think
have
of,
to hear her now, but whatever.
well, yeah. The only thing I can think of spirit character-wise that would have been really interesting is if she got weaker with every revive.
Yeah,
It seems like if someone had to be brought back from the dead over and over, you'd think that at some point the one thing being brought back would just be so terrible that
that's a good point.
But
it just gets weaker and weaker.
Yeah, definitely interesting change. Definitely cool. So,
all right. Are you ready to talk about it wouldn't be the man of the week. I guess he'd be the Wookiee of the week.
Wookiee of the week. Well, unless it's Zalbar, he's going to be the Wookiee of the week every week. So, because there's only 2 Wookiees.
Well, there's a lot of Wookiees. It's just they all have the name Chewbacca in them except for one.
Yeah, true.
All right, legendary Chewbacca. Yeah, it's finally time. I'm so excited to talk about him. I say we just dig right into his kit and then start talking about him from there. Sound good?
Sounds good to me. I got him up on the screen, looking all awesome.
Oh, nice. Yeah, he looks pretty sweet. Unit name, Chewbacca. Alignment, light. Categories, scoundrel, rebel, attacker, smuggler. He's a mighty rebel attacker who guards the weakest ally. Abilities. His basic ability, overcharged shot. Super simple and to the point. Deal physical damage target enemy and inflict tenacity down for 2 turns. That's it.
You know, what's funny is when we first got to see the character kit, if you read the first 2 abilities, they're really not that impressive until you start getting into.
Yeah.
Still, you start getting into the
uniques.
The uniques.
And then you realize, oh, okay, yeah, I get it. Special one is Pulverize that has a 4-turn cooldown. Final text. Dispel all buffs on all enemies, then deal physical damage to all enemies. Chewbacca gains offense up and crit chance up for 2 turns. This attack ignores defense. This is a really good ability. I mean, a mass dispel is always very welcome, especially whenever it comes with offense up and ignores defense. Yeah, sign me up.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of characters that will dispel and not even do damage. This one dispels and then deals damage as well. So it's a 2-for in one ability. So
it's kind of a 3-for, but because of his unique, which we'll get to in a second.
The animation is just outstanding.
Yeah.
I mean, look how freaking strong does Chewbacca have to be to destroy the floor? Like
he's a beast.
Shatters the floor beneath whoever he hits. It's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty sweet. And then his second special, where I mean he just smacks the holy snot out of somebody. It is called Furious Bowcaster. Final text, deal physical damage target enemy and stun them for 1 turn. Then, if target has no protection, reset Pulverizes ability cooldown. This attack cannot be evaded. I always love an ability that cannot be evaded.
Especially one that stuns.
Especially when it stuns. Yeah, because that's the thing with foresight is you can't really do anything to him, but no, now you can stun him. Pretty sweet.
For sure.
Now,
stop BB-8 from freaking.
Oh my god, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, yeah, he is
jerk.
Incredibly annoying for sure. All right, so unique Uno, loyal friend. This is with the Zeta ability, which we kind of mentioned earlier, but at the start of battle, grant guard to the weakest ally and Han Solo until Chewbacca is defeated. Chewbacca assists when a guarded ally uses any ability during their turn, dealing 20% less damage, limited once per turn. When Chewbacca deals damage to an enemy, he and all guarded allies recover 3% health and 3% protection. Guard. Can't be critically hit, immune to daze and stun, plus 25% crit chance.
So, in regards to the legendary event, this is why if you can't kill Chewbacca, do your best to stun him. Cad Bane does this very well. Stun him so that Leia and Han aren't calling him in to just claw you to death on every move they make.
Yep, because he does pretty good damage. However, it's his second unique that really makes his assists super annoying. And that is Raging Wookiee, which is Chewbacca is immune to ability block and cooldown increase. When Chewbacca deals damage to an enemy, he deals bonus damage equal to 20% of their max health. When Chewbacca takes damage from an attack, he gains plus 25% offense and plus 25% crit chance until the end of his next turn. When Chewbacca or a guarded ally takes damage from an attack, reduce Furious Bowcaster's cooldown by 1. That 20% of their max health is basically an expose that immediately gets triggered. That is incredibly annoying when he's assisting 40% of the team.
Yeah, or, Han, who's already just destroying you with his huge attacks twice.
Exactly. And then you can't daze or stun Han, which are basically the only two ways to make him not counter.
Mm-hmm.
Han also has the plus 25% crit chance, and you can't critically hit Han Solo. Yeah. He does a really good job at protecting Han and making Han a lot more viable and greatly increasing the amount of time he can survive. Something else that's really cool about the critically hit thing, I've been seriously considering modding my team so that old Ben is guarded.
How in the world? You would have to not mod him.
No, actually, he's not as tanky as you would think. It's actually pretty easy. When I first set my team up, that's the way it was. And then I quickly changed it. But then I was thinking about it. I was like, once he taunts, you can't crit him? That's kind of awesome. But other than that, you are just kind of wasting some stuff because, one, he doesn't go very often, and he doesn't need crit chance. So a lot of the other stuff in there is kind of wasted. So
just load him up with tenacity and defense and as least amount of health and protection as you can and see what happens.
Hey, that's not a terrible idea.
Yeah. There are ways to make your guy tankier without it being health or protection.
That is true. And defense is a great way to do it, especially with the, with the reworked mod set bonuses. So the synergy that they put on here is the team that I am currently running in Arena, and this was the first team that you jumped on to test in the test account, and that is a Commander Luke Skywalker lead with R2-D2, Old Ben, Chewbacca, and Han Solo, and that team is awesome.
Which, if you ran a CLS lead in the past, you should have geared up pretty well to be ready for the team.
Yeah.
Now, this is a team. So, mine, I keep saying this, and we were talking about people not sure yet of whether they really liked his kit and how good he was in Arena and all those things. And a lot of people have been saying that, Treya walks over this team, so it's all just offense wins everything. There's really no defense thing. I don't know how I had my team modded. I know your Arena team was modded the same way you had it on your regular account, and you were still having trouble with my team. So I don't know what people were seeing or are seeing that you didn't see when you fought me, but it can work. So, I mean, I don't know.
There's somebody in my arena. So, I put this team in as soon as I unlocked Chewbacca. I think I was the first person in my arena actually to put Chewbacca in. And, I've had a lot of people testing my team. Today, I've had him in well over a day. I dropped to the mid-20s, which is the same place I was dropping with Treya previously. And I've talked to a lot of people that there are people testing my team. Like, people are obviously going to be testing it, seeing what it can do, see how Treya does against it. And one person specifically was giving me feedback. Even it was Treya-led team with Nest on it. At least I'm pretty sure it was Nest. Hold on, let me verify, because it could have been Thrawn. Let me make sure.
Well, all our tests with your account and mine against yours were with the Nest instead of Thrawn.
Yes, that is correct. Let's see here. Yeah, okay, so his team was Thrawn. It was a Treya lead with Thrawn, Darth Nihilus, Darth Scion, and Sith Trooper. He actually has Emperor Palpatine in at the moment instead of Sith Trooper, which probably did to help with this team, because that was incredibly frustrating, just because the number of AoEs that you almost have to do, along with the counterattacks from the entire team, the built-in expose that Chewbacca has in his unique ability, it does 20% health. That kind of makes Darth Nihilus pretty easy to take care of. I mean, Darth Nihilus really isn't a problem. Part of the problem is he stacks up so much health that you can't kill him with standard attacks because he has health steal. But with Chewbacca, it's a non-issue, pretty much. It is. I mean, I don't understand. Like, I've seen a lot of people saying that, it's awful on defense. I don't think it is. I think if you mod it properly, it's pretty good on defense, actually.
Unpopular opinion.
Unpopular
Ready for
opinion,
this?
yes.
The event is hard, and not everyone, I don't think, is going to get him 7-star.
That is definitely true, too.
I think people that aren't going to get him 7-star want him to be bad and will latch on to anything that's negative against said about him and say he's not good.
Yeah.
I'm not probably, I don't have high hopes on my main that I'm going to get him 7-star. I'm going to try my best, but it does make me salty in a way, but I can see people that aren't going to be able to get there, even with decently Gear 10 above characters that just still can't do it, being mad and not wanting him to be good just because they can't get him. I'm not saying everyone's like that, but I will say that that is a thing that happens when people can't grab something. They will grab onto anything negative said about them and to say that they didn't need him. And let me just put an example. The same thing happened with RJT. Everyone that didn't get her the first time around,
100%,
for the longest time, people said RJT was not good. Just not a good character. It doesn't matter.
Like, this is her kit. Her kit's terrible. Yeah, okay.
And then look what happened. People still run her in Arena. So
yes, they do.
It's just we're a few days into it.
This
Things
happens
will change
every time. Like we said, it happened with Emperor Palpatine and Darth Vader as well. Like this, it happens all the time. I'm sorry, I've tested it, and I am pretty confident saying that this team can do pretty damn good on defense against Traya teams. It is an incredibly good team on offense. I can plow through a Traya team in about 45 seconds. I've done it a little bit faster a few times. I mean, it does. It literally completely melts them. You can pretty much take out Traya, Scion, Darth Nihilus within a couple attacks. I mean, it works really, really well. And you do have to mod it properly. How you mod the team matters. So,
just like with every team. I mean,
wow, who'd have thought?
Surprise! Breaking content right here.
And you have to use the proper mods on the characters. It's the same with. I've seen Traya teams that suck too because people don't mod them properly. And
I love finding those. Those are the best.
Yeah,
how did you get up here? I don't know, but I'm happy you did. Please be my stepping stone.
100%. And so specifically in the CLS lead with R2, Han, Chewie, and old Ben, I'll go ahead and go through my general modding strategy for this team, and you can kind of tell me what you think. So my CLS is I have him as fast as I can make him under these parameters. Crit damage set with a crit damage triangle. That's it. That's pretty much my only requirements. As far as the circle and the plus, I lean more towards health or protection. Either one, it doesn't particularly matter because he can recover both of those. Probably lean more towards protection in general because of the fact that he has counters. If you're facing Traya leads, anytime you attack out a turn, you take damage equal to 35% of your health. So there is some strategy to mitigating the amount of health that all of your characters have as a whole, just so that you are taking less damage. Because it's not damage directly to your health, it is damage equal to that. So if you can stack up a big protection pool and a smaller health pool, you will be taking less damage, possibly over the same amount of total HP as you would if you modded differently. So that's just something to kind of consider, especially with Chewie. He does have the 3% protection and health recovery if you have the Zeta on him, but Chewie he assists a lot. I mean, if you have Han, very first thing right off the bat, very first attack, he's taking damage because he's assisting on Han's ability in the first. By the way, I faced another CLS team, and I was like, my Han got to go first. I was like, great idea. I'll stop Han from, attacking me first. It's stupid because guard. It doesn't work. So are you talking? I cannot hear you.
Okay, sorry. So basically, yeah, I know, right? New microphone. Still working out the kinks. So basically you shot him and Chewbacca assisted, then he countered and his Chewbacca assisted, right?
I don't remember if he countered. It's not.
Or did
100%.
you actually stun?
No, it did not stun him because you can't stun him because of guard.
Oh,
but
right,
he only
right.
has a 85% counter chance.
So if he didn't counter, that's a good thing because you would have got smacked in the face twice. Because he assists on counters, right?
Yeah, that would be bad.
Does he assist on counters? I can't remember.
No, he does not assist on counters. That is the one thing. He only assists on that character's turn, which is,
Okay.
because Han gets the free turn at the beginning, he can assist there, but he will not assist on counters.
That would just be too out of control with Han.
Yeah, for sure. But, I mean, it is such an awesome team. So, like I said, CLS I have for crit damage and speed. If you want to go entirely speed on CLS, that's totally cool because Commander Luke Skywalker, he can heal himself, he gives turn meter to everyone. So the more often he goes, the more turn meter he gives to everyone. And whenever he goes, you can have Chewie assist if you have him modded properly, as in being the weakest character of the team, which is pretty easy to do. So there's definitely a good argument for a speed set on Commander Luke Skywalker. And I may actually test that just because, Chewie coming in is obviously awesome. Then I have R2, super fast, and I have a ton of protection on him. I have 3 protection primaries on him for the reason I stated. I want to give everyone as much protection as possible while spreading as little health as possible. That way the damage mitigation is much less from that Traya lead. And then, you kind of have Chewie doing his AoE and all that awesome stuff. He's fairly fast. He's gear all the way through gear 12 and a half, and he has 1 gear 12 plus piece. As soon as I get the next piece, oh yes, he will absolutely be getting it. But my Han Solo, he is modded to 222% crit damage. I have a sliced triangle on him, and he has 3 offense primaries. So the square, the triangle, and the plus. I totally see an argument for putting like some protection and stuff like that on him, just because he is squishy. But I think with the crit immunity, he can survive long enough to cause some serious problems, especially whenever he's countering, and due to the fact that he gains turn meter. Whenever he uses his first special, he immediately gets to go again, or he should, because he's getting a ridiculous amount of crit chance. He has 20%. R2 gives him 10. Chewie gives him 25. So, I mean, he has 55% crit chance stacked onto him. So, I mean, he has a ton of crit chance in this team, which is obviously super fun. And then Old Ben, I just kind of have going as fast as I possibly can while still being kind of tanky, because the earlier you can remove turn meter, the better. He has no Zetas, and I am seriously considering one of those Zetas, maybe both, but I don't have enough Omegas, so yeah, that's a problem.
Which is so backwards.
Yeah, it kind of is. So what do you think about that team? Because I know you've used it against Traya. What are your thoughts?
So on offense, I think the hardest part for me, the most often I lost on offense was with if Chewbacca got stunned. Because Chewbacca can still get stunned. It's just the guards, the ones that are guarded, can't get stunned. So if Chewbacca got stunned, there wasn't enough damage to kill Nihilus before Scion had taunted everyone, basically. Or at least taunted enough people that you couldn't just go right at Nihilus, so he just stayed alive. So the team's really good. You just gotta, like I said, you probably want tenacity on Chewie for that one issue in that team. That's
a good point. I do like that, actually.
Because if Chewie gets stunned, it's probably a 50-50. If he doesn't get stunned, you're gonna kill Nihilus, and the next thing you know, you're just rolling through the rest of them. So,
actually,
but if Chewie gets stunned, you're not gonna take out Nihilus first, and then he's just gonna go hog wild. So, I really like that team. I think it's a lot of fun.
Right now, I have an offense plus on Chewie that is sliced. I kind of loaded him up with offense just for the fact of how much he assists. However, if you do go with that strategy that you just mentioned, maybe go with a fast CLS, you could go with a decently high tenacity on Chewie, and maybe go with an offense arrow on him, tenacity plus. That could actually be pretty effective, just, because obviously he gets called in a lot and he's being given turn meter. That's another really effective way to mod Chewie, I think. I like it.
Sure. And I think that's what I did on my test account, where that was giving you problems.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because I mean, yeah, he can be a very big problem. And what's really awesome is like when Darth Nihilus uses his AoE, and then he just gets freaking mauled by everybody. Oh, it's so awesome.
gets mauled by everyone and only at the most reduces the cooldowns. Well, that's with the Zeta.
4.
Of 4 at the most.
Yeah. And I mean, that's another really big benefit to Chewie is he is the only character in the game that it's impossible for Darth Nihilus to steal the cooldowns from. So, I mean, that can make a really big difference whenever you're talking about an entire match, just because when it's pretty easy to put the trade team in a spot where you get the 5-turn cooldown decrease, on that AoE. And if you're not getting that, it can delay Annihilate by Eternal too. So it can be really big.
But the other part to it is just especially not under a trail lead, if you're able to stun him because his cooldowns weren't increased, if you're able to stun him immediately under those Empire Palpatine leads, which are still out there, if you can stun him first turn because he could not steal his cooldown, even if he was faster, he's got nothing now. He's got a whole nother turn. He's got to wait to do anything. So it's pretty much just, And here's another thing. People keep asking us about the other teams, like Bastila-led teams, RJT teams, and how they hold up against them. The reason I did all the testing against Traya, and this is all, I know as a bigger thing for like the whole community, it would have been better to test against all of them. But I think my mindset always goes to Traya just because I know for at least my arena, it's just all Traya all the time, everywhere. So having something that's good on defense against that and still beats it pretty heavily every time is what I'm looking for. And so I need to do a better job of testing against other things, but that is the reason that we talk so much against Traya. I have a feeling
it's also hard to find time. Let's be honest.
Yeah, throwing around arena mods is on every character is just crazy. But yeah, for sure.
So like what you were talking about with Chewie, I really like your idea that you mentioned using tenacity on him. I think that's a really great suggestion. I mean, if you just go with a slice tenacity plus and a tenacity set, you would be adding 55% tenacity to him. That is a huge, huge difference. I mean, I would be really curious to see how that works. Plus, R2 gives some tenacity. Yeah, I'm actually kind of interested to see how that works. I may test that and just kind of see how it goes. Fellow Game Changer Urzatron mentions that that's how he runs his Chewie, actually. Max tenacity, so nice. I am going to have to do that. So the other
another thing from chat worth mentioning.
Okay.
We've been talking about this as if it's the way it is. Right now there's a bug. At least there was in the past, that if Nihilus force drains and Chewbacca obviously does not hit his cooldowns reduced, Nihilus was still getting the cooldown reduction on his Annihilate ability. That is a bug, and that is being looked at, just so you know.
I did not realize that wasn't fixed. Because
I don't know if it's not fixed or not. I just know that it was pointed out in the past and was going to be looked at. So if it's not fixed now, it's being looked at.
Well, I know I mentioned it for whenever I first started messing with Chewie. I noticed that pretty early on, and
if you don't increase a cooldown, yours should not be decreased. That's the way I would think it should work, because the ability literally reads for every
stealing the cooldown.
Yeah, for every cooldown you increase, yours is decreased. So, if it's not doing that, it's wrong.
Yeah, and likely be fixed, I would assume. We'll get clarification. So I had a couple other ideas for as far as protecting Chewie. The one thing I hate about old Ben is it kind of takes a while for him to get back around to a second turn. The turn meter reduction obviously helps, but sometimes he can be slowed down, and once he loses his taunt, he can't regain it naturally. So I've thought about Kenobi, Scion, anyone that has like a taunt that can come back up. Hey, even Royal Guard might be interesting. Who knows? Any of those could be kind of interesting to help protect Chewie. R2 kind of does that with his stealth, but not entirely. I tried Bistan on the team because of his frenzy ability with the specials, but that works really well for a couple turns. Having him weak, and then he keeps gaining 100% turn meter when someone else uses a special, and then when he goes, he calls Chewie. It works awesome until Scion does his AoE, and then you're like, well, crap, that sucks.
Yeah. Goodbye, frenzy.
It is crazy good up until that point. Admiral Akbar Lead, I've considered trying, and I probably will try at some point. However, I think Rex Lead could be super interesting.
I was about to say, have you tried Rex Lead?
Because of all the turn meter gain, the fact that he gives the tenacity up, he's weak, so he would call Chewie whenever he gives tenacity up. So you could do like a, Rex, Chewie, Han Solo with, let's say, old Ben and, I don't know, pick a fifth. R2 General Kenobi, I don't know, whatever. CLS, kind of have a lot of options there.
There's tons, man. There's a lot of rebels out there, and even people that aren't rebels that could make a lot of things work with Chewie. So,
yeah.
That's another thing with, if you're underwhelmed, just think people are still working out good teams to use this guy with. So,
for sure.
Do not despair.
I did test him with Bastila Lead. Did not have great success against Treya team. I just don't think there's quite enough synergy there. I think what you have to sacrifice to get Chewie in and make him effective probably hurts Bastila more in general. Although, I mean, Bastila Lead with Grandmaster Yoda, Hermit Yoda, one of the Kenobis, and Chewie. I mean, I'm sure you could take down Treya team with that, but I don't think it's going to be great. I tested Chewie in phase 1 of the raid, in which Resistance Trooper was the weakest character. So you know how much turn meter Resistance Trooper gains. So every time he would attack, Chewie would attack. It was pretty awesome, not gonna lie. But
that'd be fun.
You do run into a serious problem with the fact that of just the way the cooldowns work and the turn meter and the expose and all of that stuff. He kind of becomes a liability because Darth Nihilus really ends up just gaining a lot of turn meter without having much turn meter reduced. And, the damage output is awesome. You can do a lot of damage really quick, but, I mean, he cycles through his turns pretty fast, so I don't think it's going to be great.
Chicken Bottom said Wicket, and that is another name that I have heard a lot, which would be really interesting.
Tell us why, Ewok Man.
Why?
Why Wicket?
I don't want to tell you why.
Fine. Fine, don't tell me why.
I don't want to.
I'll go ahead and finish talking about the raids.
I don't remember why.
Phase 3, he can replace Chariot, and I think he does this really well. I basically use my same Chex Mix team with him instead of Chariot, and I was not getting the same numbers on the high end, in which I was, a lot of times I can get 3.2, 3.3 million. With Chewie in there, I was getting more in the like 2.8 to 3 range. Maybe not quite 3, but 2.8, 2.9. He's great because I do think he allows you to do the run faster, more consistently. Primarily because the only failure that can happen is in the first, 5 to 10 seconds of the battle. That's where you'll run into the biggest issues. Typically, you'll use Han to attack one of the lightsabers with foresight. You likely will not kill them entirely, so then you have a chance that if someone gets ability block, CLS can come and play cleanup duty, and then go through the death mark thing, put Han Solo in standalone, and he can't get dazed. So that works really well. Plus, you have the extra 25% crit chance. And I think that's the biggest thing that could make a big difference for people. I have the mods to where I can mod my Han well enough to where he had a 100% crit chance. But if you're lacking the mods to get him up to a 100% crit chance, I think Chewie could be really amazing for your Chex Mix team because, not critting even a couple times will significantly lower your scores on that team. So that extra 25% crit chance could be massive. Let's see. What was the other thing? I'm going to try this here pretty soon, probably this weekend. And that is because my Chex Mix team is no longer modded properly due to my arena team.
Yeah.
I'm basically just going to try for topples. I'm going to do one standalone and then try for topples and see how it does. I think with having really good mods on there, I think I'll be able to do pretty good damage. I should be able to at least, especially with Chewie getting called in all the time. Hopefully I can keep Isolate off of Han and off of CLS, on that second come around. But, we'll see how it goes. And then I was thinking Phase 2, he could be interesting. I was trying to think of a way to put him on my Wampage team, but I'm not really sure what I would be willing to give up. I don't think I give up Sabine. You can't give up Thrawn because of the speed down and the turn meter.
So I think that the Wicket thing, back on the Wicket thing, I think it's because he has the chance to take extra turns. So if he were guarded and he took extra turns, he'd be pulling in Chewbacca.
Thanks for letting me finish the raid discussions before you brought that up. But yeah, that would probably work really well in Territory War and Territory War. Maybe Arena on if there aren't Treyas and stuff like that running all over your arena or something, you could just make a furball mix and see how it does.
The goldfish brain gets me sometimes, so I have to spit it out before I forget it. So my apologies for interrupting you, but that was the reasoning. So, but
no, I thought you were just being polite and let me finish the 3 phases I was talking about because I really don't have anything for Phase 4.
Okay, I thought I did interrupt you, and I was like, oh well.
Oh,
I'm so good at that. I'm used to doing.
No,
that.
You were being polite. It was really weird. I'm not used to it. Are you okay?
I guess that's what's throwing me off so much. But I was just thinking about how I really want to gear my Chewbacca now and try him in my Golden Ewoks Territory War defense team and probably take out someone. I don't know who I'd take out really. But I'd probably take out let's say maybe Paplu. Take out Paplu and throw Chewbacca in there instead and see how that did on defense. Because
you know what the most fun thing I've done with Chewie is so far?
What's that?
Territory battle. So you know how we've talked about how RJT, BB-8, and R2 is amazing for it?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's CLS, Han, and Chewie now. They literally mopped through. I think it was Phase 4 we were in. I went through one of the combat missions, hit auto, and I don't think it lasted a minute. Maybe 30 seconds. Like, they just absolutely cleaned house. It was awesome. I mean, because literally every attack Chewie is doing the 20% damage, Chewie is going to be a territory battle monster. If you're having a problem with combat missions, I mean, he is going to be significant for that, you know, just because that built-in expose, especially like on an AoE, when those characters have as much health as they do, that can be such a huge help. So, yeah, he's so much fun. Well,
can't wait. Can't wait to start gearing mine.
Do you want to talk about how people can beat this event?
You know, I would like to. I don't know how much help my strategy for beating it will be, because it seems like it was the total opposite of everyone else. But let's talk about it. Let me tell you how I beat it. And so on my alt, the way I beat it, I used a Bosk lead. My Bosk is gear 12. All my bounty hunters don't have any gear 12 pieces on them, so they're just straight up gear 12 right now.
Okay.
Bosk is gear 12, Dengar gear 12, Boba gear 12, Greedo gear 12. So I used a Bosk lead with those four and the gear 11 Cad Bane. The one that I actually ended up beating it, they did not hit Dengar, so R2 smoke screened everyone, and so I'm like, instead of just backing out, I just went straight at R2 just to see what would happen. And I totally destroyed R2 pretty quickly, because somehow Bosk didn't get stunned, which always seems to happen on most of my runs. So Bosk didn't get stunned, so I was able to use the all bounty hunter call in, you know, a lot of the other abilities, and just took out R2. And then finally, Han was the next one that came out of stealth, so I started going at him, and which, you know, kind of sucks because he's guarded, so it really doesn't do a lot of damage to him. But I managed to kill Han, and that left Rolo, Chewbacca, and Lando. And then finally Chewie came out of stealth. Well, actually, Lando came out of stealth as well as Chewie, but Lando wasn't guarded. And so I'm like, you know what, if I can take out his AoE, that would be cool. So I took out Lando, and then it was down to Chewbacca and Rolo. And that's when I took out Chewbacca, and then I took out Rolo. So totally
Nice.
weird, like, order of kills compared to all the ones for the winners I've seen and what they've talked about worked for them. But that completely worked for me. But now I got to preface that by saying I got my Bosk to 270 speed. My Boba was at 250, and my Cad Bane, I think, was 253. And everyone else was like 220s, 230s. So, I mean, I speed these guys out like crazy. And it took about 3 attempts before I got through it. So, gear and speed is king, obviously, in all things. But
Absolutely.
that's how it ended up beating it. But I can't
mean,
say that'll work for everyone. It definitely worked for me.
Way to
though.
do it, if you can. I mean, having them geared is much easier. I've seen a lot of people that have like all gear 12 and 11 bounty hunters and can't beat the event. To which I just,
Well, see, that's going to be me, because the only way I'm going to be able to attempt this is with all gear 11 bounty hunters. So I'm going to have to mod them out speed-wise once they're all gear 11, like I had on my alt account, and hope that's enough, because it's just, if you don't speed them up, it's just too... I left all regular mods on them and tried it a couple times without even messing with the mods on my bounty hunters on the alt, and annihilated before they killed anyone.
Strongly disagree with you.
But okay, never mind. I'll say this once you finish your what you're gonna say.
Okay. The one caveat that I know I'm going to get, which is totally cool, My Boba is completely maxed and did have ridiculous mods. However,
So that's what I don't have to say because you were literally completely maxed in gear on him.
the rest of my characters, IG-88 was gear 11, Zam Wessel was gear 12, gear 10, Dengar was gear 9, and Greedo was gear 8. That's what I beat the event with. That's how I got my 7-star Chewie.
But who did the heavy lifting?
Oh, it was strictly Boba and Dengar.
There you go.
I see a lot of people putting resources into the other characters. If you have Boba and Dengar, they're the only two you need, and you don't even need that much gear on Dengar. If you can make Boba one ridiculous badass attacker, get him up to 216% crit damage, add some speed on him, make him to where he has decent crit chance, which he's going to anyway because he does, you can beat the event. And the biggest thing for me, I spent more time messing with mods, and I eventually came back to what I thought would probably work, and it worked really well. I got super close a lot of times before I actually beat it. So I know it can be done this way. It's entirely about potency mods. I literally could not care less. In the end, I don't care about any of the speed, any of the health, any of the protection, any of offense, crit damage, nothing. None of it matters at all whatsoever on Greedo, Zam Wessel, or IG-88. It does not matter. The only thing that matters is that you have 3 potency sets and a potency primary. That's it. Because when you put all those on there, you get a pretty massive amount of potency. You get 69% potency from mods, in addition to the natural potency that they have. Half of that converts into health for each individual bounty hunter. That is a massive amount of health and survivability that you're getting back. Every single one of your bounty hunters, excluding maybe Boba, should have a potency primary as the plus. Boba, I can see the argument for offense. I think that's what I had on him whenever I beat it, just because I wanted a little bit extra damage. You stack up that much potency, you are adding a ridiculous amount of health, which is crucial because Boba needs to survive. Dengar, who's already has a lot of health, increasing his health pool by that much more helps a ton. So once you get them modded, get your Boba modded to be fast and powerful as all hell, and get Dengar. If you're going to put speed mods on when I say speed mods, I mean secondary speed with potency set bonus. Put those on Dengar because he is pretty important to the thing. His unique ability, if he gets critically hit and goes into stealth, will prevent the other team from stealthing. That prevents R2-D2 from going into stealth and stealthing everyone. That is key number 1. That has to happen. Because if R2-D2 goes into stealth, well, you're just kind of screwed because you might be able to get through him, but R2-D2 just has so much health and everything that he is incredibly difficult to get through. So wait until Dengar prevents the stealth. Then, if anyone gets a turn, if Zam or Greedo get a turn, throw thermal detonators. Thermal detonators do significant amounts of damage, plus they give turn meter, they expose Boba's leader ability. So use those 2 to get thermals out if they don't get wiped out. I know my Greedo never took a turn. I think Zam did a basic once, and I think I got IG-88 to do an AoE once, and then they were all dead. Most of them don't even have their Omega abilities. Dengar, a few of his Omega abilities are kind of important. His basic ability can call in a fellow bounty hunter. So it's actually really nice when everyone else dies because Boba's set for damage. So what you can do is try to, on Dengar's first turn, what you want to do is use his AoE. His AoE will put out debuffs, which is good for Boba because that increases the amount of damage from execute, and he will put out thermal detonators, which in a turn will end up giving Boba turn meter, which is great. So what I would always do is use Boba's first turn, use his basic ability on Chewie to take his health down and hopefully add a damage over time or two onto him. Then on his second turn, use execute. If you don't kill Chewie on the execute, you might need to restart. Part of what's important is there's a good chance that Boba will probably get stunned, he will probably get ability blocked, and then he will probably get killed. It's actually really good that he gets killed because then he comes back and he's not ability blocked or stunned, and he can execute Chewie, which then gives him back Bounty Hunter's Resolve. All this time, Dengar is stealthed, which means he can only be hit by an AoE. Once you get Chewie out of the way, it's kind of like a buffet. You can choose whoever you want to take out. What I would do, or what I would suggest doing, is save Lando. Lando, he is basically like a free Bounty Hunter's Resolve because execute takes him out super easily. He's a pretty weak character. Generally, the basic, if he had even a little damage gone, I could basic him, and if Boba double taps, he can get taken out and get Bounty Hunter's Resolve back. So I would kind of keep him as, just kind of a feeder for Bounty Hunter's Resolve while I tried to kill Han next. Han is obviously a big problem. If you can, once you kill Chewie, use Dengar to stun Han so that you can attack him without losing damage. Every time you kill someone, you want
losing
it to be
health.
Do what?
You said losing damage or without losing health? Stun Han so you lose damage is what you said. You don't lose damage.
Oh, yeah,
I think
that's
you meant
true.
health.
I don't know why I said. Yeah, so you don't lose health. That is an excellent point. So you don't counter and also remove your turn meter. That's very problematic. And the turn meter reduction is a really good reason to wait on Han. But I personally like to get rid of him. But if you get in a spot where he keeps reducing your turn meter, I mean, you can basically get locked into a loop where he kills you and keeps taking your turn meter, and you never get to take a turn. So stunning him is a really good idea. And then if you can get him or Rolo killed, either one is totally fine. If you get taken out, just go to Lando, kill Lando, so you can get your Bounty Hunter's Resolve back. Work on Han. Once Han goes down, things get super easy. Just for the fact that there's not a whole lot of damage there. It's really hard to kill Boba. With all the health that you have from the potency mods that everyone else had, everyone else is dead, but they're still helping Boba because of those potency mods you put on him. So, once you do that, be honest, man, R2 can be a total pain. I think twice I got it down to R2 and Lando and lost just because R2 got me in a stun lock, and that is obviously a really big problem. So I figured out, don't ability block him. Actually, ability blocking R2-D2 is a really, really terrible idea. You would much rather him be able to burn you and go into stealth, because obviously a foresight you can execute and can actually be beneficial. He double taps anyway, so once you get through foresight, second time you could do damage, maybe a damage over time gets added. Just don't let him get you in a stun lock. Like I said, it took me a couple times to learn that lesson. But other than that, I think those are probably the biggest tips that I have for beating that event. All you need is one really well modded and geared character. The rest can be pretty pathetic and the original bounty hunters can absolutely do it, no question.
Now-
IG-88, Rito, and Zam could be far less geared than I have them, and you still beat the event. I have no question, no doubts about that.
The Boba Fett's Zeta. How big of a importance was that, you think?
Not huge. Is it
Because
useful? Yeah.
I
but
think it's probably very important.
it's
I don't
not
see how it could
because-
not be.
Because all it does is recover protection.
Right. Which makes you more survivable.
Not that much. I mean, when
A
you're
full,
talking...
you get full protection back. How does that not that much?
Well, I mean, when modded properly, I mean, Boba probably has 70 to 90,000 health. I mean, he has a ton of health, and he might have...
That other team stacks turns like crazy. So it doesn't
No.
matter if he has 90,000 health. If they take
That is
4 turns
true.
in a row, he's dead. Like, the protection
Yeah.
regen.
But he has Bounty Hunter's Resolve. So whenever he kills someone...
There's 5 people, so you're really hoping you're going to kill someone, because if you don't, he's dead.
Well, yeah.
That's why I think it's...
I mean, you have to kill Chewie first. Once you get Chewie taken out of the way, you get your Bounty Hunter's Resolve back. And like I said, yes, that can be useful, but the bigger thing is the fact that he gets the 100% health and gets Bounty Hunter's Resolve whenever he kills someone. That is massive. The protection gain really isn't all that important because a lot of times whenever he dies, there's extra damage. I mean, if you're in the yellow and Han double taps you, well, I mean, there may be 10, 15,000 damage that goes nowhere just because it had nowhere to go, you know?
Yeah.
If you only have 5,000 health left or whatever. And, you know, whereas the protection, it would be taken down. You know, I mean, does it help with survivability? Yes. Is it required? Absolutely not, just because of the way his Bounty Hunter Resolve works and the fact that to recover that protection, you have to kill someone. And the bigger thing from killing somebody is the Bounty Hunter's Resolve. That's really the only thing that matters, is the ability to revive and give yourself another chance to kill someone else.
I can tell you this much. If I don't have it beaten with 2 days left, he's getting his Zeta.
I'll be honest, I don't think it'll make that big of a difference. I mean, I do think it'll
totally disagree. I mean, you beat it within how many turns? How many attempts did it take you? I haven't beaten my head against this thing for 2 days, and
I would say
with the
50,
strategy you're talking about, and I still haven't beat the 6-star version. So
I would say 50 to 60 attempts probably, and I spent a lot of time doing various speed sets on Dengar, and you know, speed sets on Boba, speed sets on Zam. You know, trying to get more thermal detonators off. Like, I spent a lot of time trying to do different strategies. I didn't actually count my attempts, so I'm not exactly sure. I'm just guessing. But once I modded the team the way I did, it became infinitely easier. Like, most of the times I was seeing a path where, okay, like, I can actually see this getting beaten, you know, pretty easily. Well, I say easily. That's a stretch, but you get my point.
Yep. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, I think you only really need, like, your really elite mods on the one character if your Boba's geared really well. And like I said, Dengar's important. Dengar or Bosk. I haven't heard of very many people beating it without Dengar or Bosk. They're both really good. If you have higher geared characters, you're obviously in a better spot. But, I mean, that I just kind of went over is kind of a minimalist guide for doing it, especially considering Boba is such a good character. You know, I've talked about, like, the Phase 2 team. I've talked about so many teams in the past with Boba that I feel like everyone who listens to this podcast should have Boba at Gear 12. So this strategy, I guess, is maybe more for those people, and you know, hopefully it helps some people. But you know, his ship's great. Like, Boba is such a damn good character. He works on so many different teams. Most of the other bounty hunters don't. And, I think if you need to gear Boba for this event, even if you need to take Gear 12 for this event, I think it's totally worth it.
Well, let me just say this. I listen to this podcast, and I have a Gear 9 old bin. My Boba's about to be Gear 11, and I have Golden Ewoks. So it doesn't always mean...
Just because you do the podcast doesn't mean you listen to the podcast. Just to be clear.
I'm telling you, I've always played this game to have fun, and I like my Ewoks. So,
yeah, and they've done pretty well in territory battles. Or territory war. I am very excited about the next territory war. See how my new Chewie team does.
I'm gonna gear up Chewie and throw him in with the Ewoks on defense and see what happens.
That's something else I just now thought about. Territory war. If your team survives, I mean, the next team that comes in, Han's getting the first shot. Like, good luck. This is a team that you could get in a terribly bad loop in.
Yeah.
I highly suggest people watching out for this team in territory war because I mean, Han along with Chewie can take someone out without much effort. They can take out ridiculously tanky characters, and especially if they're already gaining turn meter and stuff like that, it could be a big problem if you're not taking these teams out, or if you're leaving them with, leaving them with turn meter. Could get ugly.
Agreed.
Woo!
Oh,
God, I
man.
love Chewie.
That was a lot. Chew on that, as they say.
Yeah, no kidding. You know what I think we should do, though?
I do know. But why don't you tell everyone else?
I think we should see how well we know Chewie.
We just talked about him for a long time, so hopefully this does not go badly.
Soundboard is being stubborn.
Say, what happened there?
No idea. Give me 1 second.
Let's try that. Take two.
Take two. Well, all right. We'll just ignore that.
It's time for.
This is disappointing.
I'm hearing everything perfectly. I don't understand why we keep stopping it.
Oh, you heard it?
I heard everything, but I even hear that. It's really loud.
I'm an idiot. Wow. I don't know how that happened.
Let's crank that down a little.
Is that good?
Yeah, that's good.
I'm an idiot.
I like Joker. It sounded fine. Yeah, I hear it all. I don't know what's going on with the wink, but
I'll edit that in the podcast. You'll never know what happened.
All right, sounds good.
All right. Are you guys ready for some trivia? This is obviously put together by our good friend Tesh from the Order and the Guild Frequent Fighters. This week's trivia is entirely about our good new friend Chewbacca.
And I'm going into this not being tricked about it only being about the legendary Chewbacca. I have a feeling some of this is going to talk about the other Chewbaccas. So
didn't think about that. I am totally
I've
screwed.
already got my mind moving on the other Chewbaccas as well. So we'll see what happens.
All right. So if I am going to post the pin in chat.
And it will be on your screen the entire time we're doing it. So.
Oh, well, there's probably no need to do that then. However, people listening on audio, you can go to the show notes of this file and you will see the pin that I'm going to read off right now. 0183751. That is again 0183751. There will be two pins in the show notes just in case if that first pin does not work, go to the show notes. There will be a second pin because we've had issues with, way too many people doing these with us, which is a great problem to have. I love it.
I agree.
All
Now,
right.
here's the other great problem to have. I don't have two phones with me to be able to ask the question
Ooh. All right.
before we actually get into the question. So
Okay. All
I'm
right.
gonna have to try to read the question really quick and then answer it.
I say we just go into answer the question and then we can read it, and
Okay.
then list the answers. We'll talk about it and then give the answer and move on.
So if there's a few seconds of this amazing Fleet Cantina music for you to listen to, you'll know it's because we are answering the question, and then we'll ask you the question.
Exactly.
All right.
All right.
I am in. Are you in?
I am in.
Okay. I am going
Alright.
to... we got 9 questions. All right. Here we go. First
Alrighty.
question. Which
Question
Chewbacca
one.
adds blue status effects to his allies? I got it. I got an
options
answer.
Are veteran smuggler Chewbacca, Vandor Chewbacca, Clone Wars Chewbacca, and Chewbacca.
And what did you answer?
I didn't read through all the answers, and I saw Vandor Chewbacca, and I chose Vandor Chewbacca. Vandor Chewbacca is not the correct answer.
No, it is not, and I am surprised at you. Kind of disappointed too. All right, so next question.
Oh, that's disappointing.
Which Chewbacca has no direct Han counterpart in game?
The options are veteran smuggler Chewbacca, Vandor Chewbacca, Clone Wars Chewbacca, and Chewbacca.
And you
What did
answered.
you select?
I collected Clone Wars Chewbacca
I selected Clone Wars Chewbacca as well.
because that was before he met Han.
It was back when he knew Grandmaster Yoda.
So why don't they have synergy? Come on. Just kidding.
Oh yeah, come on, CG, let's do this. Let's go into question number 3.
Which Chewie is a pilot?
Is a pilot. The questions are none of them stupid game, or vet Chewie.
I chose none of them. How
I
about you?
chose none of them as well, and that is.
I like how Vet Chewie was in there just to give you another option.
I stopped and thought about it.
What if veteran Chewie and veteran Han drove that massive cargo ship that was in Phantom Menace? Not Phantom Menace. Force Awakens. You know what I'm talking about? That giant ship?
Oh, yeah.
That would be a capital ship, I think. That's how big it is.
I think it'd just be a cargo ship. It'd be a tank.
Yeah, for sure.
Does
Just
too much
blocking
damage.
everyone else.
All right, let's move on to the 4th question.
Question 4.
Which Chewie's kid is made up of 73 words for reference? Darth Treyas is 327 words. The options are Clone Wars Chewbacca, Vandor Chewbacca, Chewbacca, and veteran smuggler Chewbacca.
73 words for an entire kit.
That is crazy.
Has to be Clone Wars Chewbacca.
Is that what you selected?
That was what I selected. He's literally the first character, one of the first 2 characters you're given in the game.
Yeah, that is what I chose as well, and it is the correct answer. All right, let's move on to the next question. Which debuff is not inflicted by any Chewbaccas in the game? Speed down, daze, buff immunity, or stun?
Well, I finally missed one.
Oh, thank God. I finally got one right that you missed. The
That's the
correct
first.
answer
That's his
is
first at all since we've been doing Kahoot. By the way,
that is buff immunity. What did you choose?
I chose days.
Nice.
Who does days?
I believe it's veteran, isn't it?
Must be. It's the one with the kit I least recognize.
Nice.
All
Like
right
it.
then.
All right. Next question. Which Chewie has a 100% counter chance when buffed? Clone Wars Chewbacca, Vandor Chewbacca, Veteran Smuggler Chewbacca, or Chewbacca?
I chose Vandor Chewbacca.
That is the correct answer.
What did you choose?
Not Vandor Chewbacca.
I like how you. I knew when you said you didn't pick that you probably didn't pick that.
Yeah. I feel like I knew that one. I don't know why I picked Veteran Smuggler. That was stupid.
You can pretty much assume that if it does something cool, it's probably not Clone Wars Chewbacca.
That's true. He's pretty easy to eliminate. Let's go into question number 7.
All right, I got this one.
Chewie can gain turn meter from his own abilities, independent of what allies are present.
Answers are Clone Wars Chewbacca, Veteran Smuggler Chewbacca, Chewbacca, and Vandor Chewbacca.
And what did you choose?
I chose Clone Wars Chewbacca.
How do you know this crap? Nobody
Because-
uses Clone Wars Chewbacca. This is absurd.
Only because this is a easy enough thing that can happen that it would have been there in the beginning of the game, and I did not see that.
That's the stupidest reason ever.
And I didn't
God,
see
you don't deserve
anyone
points for
else.
that.
Oh well, I got 1,092. So
I hate this game. Next question. Which Chewie can heal other allies' health? Clone Wars Chewbacca, Veteran Smuggler Chewbacca, Chewbacca, or Vandor Chewbacca?
I feel gypped
Why?
because Vandor Chewbacca can revive and heal. Pretty much brings them back to life and gives them health. How is that not a heal?
Is it another ally or other allies? Multiple.
He can
Chewie
do it to
can-
every ally. It just depends on who
Oh.
dies.
But it's only one at a time.
That's not in the question.
It says
Depends
other
on-
can heal other allies' health. Not
Oh,
heal
I
another
see.
ally.
I see the apostrophes in a different place. That is what I missed. I missed it being over one spot. Great. All right. Well, I missed that one. It's true.
Oh my-
It's
Okay.
that's
Okay,
true,
and-
right? If it
Okay,
was in
so-
front of the S, it would be 1, but it's on the other side of the S, so it's all. Right? That's
Elton
simple
Blues-
English.
Elton Blue said that's actually really smart reasoning for your last question, which I actually agree. I just wanted to troll you. That was really stupid reasoning for this one.
Look, I have my good and my bad. You just got to roll with it.
I have mostly bad, so I'm going to talk trash whenever I get the opportunity.
All right. Well, I can
right.
deal with it.
Is this the last question?
It is.
All right, question 9. Which Chewie has the most combined health and protection?
I knew that was going to be wrong. Oh, I knew that was
Veteran
gonna be
Smuggler
wrong.
Chewbacca, Chewbacca, Vandor Chewbacca, or Clone Wars Chewbacca?
Why would it be the tank? That would make the most sense. You are turned into a
Veteran Smuggler Chewbacca.
you have turned into a robot. So what was your answer? You have poor network connection. That's great. At least it lasted to the end of the podcast. I feel like we're going to lose Wink in a second. So give me 1 second and I'll bring him back. All right, I'm calling him back. We're going to get him back. He will be here soon. Just wait 2 seconds. I think he will. Michael is unavailable. Now he's back. All right, there he goes.
Hey!
Hey, I can hear you again. You turned into a robot and you were just gone.
That don't surprise me. My internet's amazing.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so you're good now. What did you put on the last one?
I don't remember. I got it wrong though.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
no.
Did you-
I put Chewbacca because he's quite tanky for an attacker, legendary character. I figured he might have a little bit more health and protection than everyone else, but no.
Yeah, so I wound up second place to Chicken Bottom for the people that have done it so far, and you wound up not in the top 5, so I don't know where you're at.
What?
Maybe I need to
I'm
refresh.
6th.
I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm 6th.
I feel it pertinent to point out the fact that you have not beat me at Kahoot Trivia.
Oh, shut up. Joker freaking smashed it this week.
Just saying. Holy smokes, yeah, Joker did. Nice job, man.
Good grief, dude. Well done.
There you go. I don't feel I'll stay in the top 5 by the end of when everyone's done this, so good job, guys.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I like the Kahoot trivia, but I hate the Kahoot trivia.
But you just hate losing.
Ugh. I hate multiple choice questions. They're so difficult. I like open-ended questions.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so funny that I destroy you at this and you, for the most part, destroyed me at the other one.
I'm going to start studying. You're not going to beat me again for quite some time.
All right, we'll see what happens next week. So, I think that's it for this week, though.
Indeed. All right. So if you enjoyed the show, you want to support the podcast, patreon.com/shatteredorder. You can get roster reviews. I still owe a couple of roster reviews. I've still got one that I need to get published. There's been so much stuff going on. Next week, things are going to be a little bit slower. I'm going to get some of this backlog stuff up and out. So Patreons are the only people who get to listen to the roster reviews, so make sure you check that out. You can also go sub on Twitch. If you are an Amazon Prime user, please go use your free Amazon Prime each month. We would really appreciate it. Get you in a drawing. Next week, we'll be doing giveaways for our Patreon subs this month, as well as our Twitch subs. As we do every month, we like giving you guys gift cards, so make sure you get those refreshed and in. Anything else? I think we covered everything else in the rest of the show.
I think that pretty much does it. So, we managed to stumble through Hotel Podcast. It went well. I think it went great. So, thank you everyone for hanging out with us. Thank you for listening. For everyone listening to the podcast in audio form, thank you for sticking through and listening all the way to us fumbling through Chewbacca trivia. So, for those keeping track at home, I have beaten Wink every time on Kahoot. Just thought I'd say that again. Thank you for listening. We appreciate all of you, and we will see you again next week at the same place. Okay.
I have one last thing to say to you. I have 7-star Chewbacca on my main account. Just saying. Just saying.
Bye, everyone.
Later.